Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, Captain Logan, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today. So tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, we are going to be talking all about Sea of Thieves' latest podcast. Now, if you guys don't know, they do have a seasonally podcast. We've been kind of wondering when this was going to arrive, but we now have that for season 15, and we have a bit more news about content creators and Sea of Thieves working together. All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. But before we get into any of that, I have to thank the patrons. They're the ones that are going over to patreon.com/Keelhauled Podcast to show their support for this content. I appreciate them, and it's always great to have them join in on the monthly episodes where the Keelhauled Gold Hoarders sit down to talk about their feelings, their thoughts. I'm looking forward to this month because I think we've got a lot of stuff to discuss as we are looking closer and closer towards season 16 and all the stuff that I'm going to be talking about later in this episode about that, as well as just how the stability team is doing. So I really want to get their opinions on this. So I'm looking forward to the next episode coming up, which is actually going to be on the 26th of April. So you got a couple weeks to plan for it on that Saturday. If you want to jump in, definitely feel free to let me know. If you have any questions or any thoughts that you want to have for that episode, you can always post those in the Discord Gold Hoarder channel if you're a part of that as well. If not, just let me know. I will find a place in feedback. I think there's a good, actually, let me take a look at the Discord. There should be a feedback and questions. Yeah, there's a feedback channel in there that we can actually use for that too. So if you guys have any questions for the Gold Hoarders that you want to pose yourself to get their thoughts on something that you want to talk about as well too, we can do that as well. But before we get into any of the news today, I have to thank them. So thank you to A Chick, L Cute, Balls, Blue Turtle V1, Captain Chonky, Captain Longsharts, Chopper 918, Chateau Neuf, Super Pack, Zombie Killer, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, Davrum TV, El Jefe Esteban, Godhammer 6, Carl Embo, Kylea the Aficionado, Evil Morpheus, Space Admiral Oars, Xbox Mike 29, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Ribloid, Rustbelt Kid, Shoe Daddy 13, Scamelt 666, The Demon Jester, Tommy D, TN Professor, Vibralux, Wailing Witch, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, The Lore Chronologist Deadeye Dre, Hager Owl, Jeff H, Captain Duckweed, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Thor Von Blitz, Luke Lore the Insipid Ghost, and Wow. Thank you so much for your love, for your support. It really does help out. It means the world to me, but please take care of yourself first, as always. I am going to be going to SGF. I don't know if I've talked about it here. I know I've talked about it on XEP, and I have been doing streams. Funny enough, I'm going to be doing some scary streams, which I don't want to do, but I'm going to be doing them for the Summer Games Fest lead up to that. We're fundraising for Luke and I to go there. And we've almost got the bills paid for that. So we're going to be covering a lot of Xbox news. But with that, I'm going to be doing some streaming of scary games. I also have to wear Crocs on the airport to go to SGF, which I also don't want to do because Crocs are hideous and I really don't want to have to wear them. But I will, because that's the pain that people want for me. So if you guys have any questions, concerns about that, feel free to let me know. I will try to get that information for you. And yeah, let's get into it. First on today's docket, let's talk about the latest news that came out for this month of April, listing out some of the stuff that we're going to be having throughout this month. Now, you may be wondering, Logan, it is April 13th, sir. It is halfway through the month. What have I missed all the stuff that's going on? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. You need to log into the game as you are listening to this episode just to make sure that you still have the Sales of Woven Wonders. You have till April 15th to be able to do this. And at the time of recording, it is probably going to be the 13th or the 14th. So I'm going to let you know right now, you better log in, because if you don't, you're going to miss out on the Southern Gothic folklore sales, which are going to be tied to the game that I actually reviewed, which I talked about last week, which is the South of Midnight game. It's on Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, you can definitely jump into that. If you don't know what Game Pass is, you're probably on PC or PlayStation 5, so apologies. But aside from that, we're going to be having some sales going on in the Emporium from April 16th through April 22nd. Then we have the Mega Stashes event. This is going on from Thursday, April 17th, which is this week, until Thursday, April 24th of next week. During the Mega Stashes event, Mega Stashes, you get I'll get into it, but there's a funny reward for this. During the Mega Stashes event, setting sail for skeleton forts and clearing them out could lead to even greater rewards. Daring pirates have a chance to uncover ashen mega stashes down in the vaults, a hoard fit for even the most seasoned treasure hunter. And if you want a memento of your time robbing the skeletons' stashes, conquer enough skeleton forts during this event, and you'll be rewarded with the magnificent Stash Seeker's mustache. It is a very nice mustache. Reminds me of, I don't know, Mario, I guess. I don't know. But it's going to be made available, and that is going on from the 17th through to the 24th. After the 18th, they're going to be adding a new song to the Sea of Thieves soundtrack over on Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Deezer, which is a terrible name, Tidal, which is a terrible service, and then TikTok, because TikTok. But that is going to be the Great Meg Chase. That is something that came in with this season. So that is going to be made available over on the streaming music platforms. And then as predicted, I actually didn't know this ahead of time. I was actually kind of happy to see that I was right about this. But the monthly update is actually going to be coming out on April 24th. April's monthly update will include the final installment for season 15, which will bring in voyages for the Hunter's Call that will allow you to go seeking megalodons, as well as boars or wild boars, which if you're a wild boar, you need to find something to spruce up your life, because no one wants to be considered a boar, especially at parties or get-togethers. So find some interesting things, or do what you're supposed to do in Sea of Thieves and hunt them down and murder them with hunting spears. Because if you're a wild boar and you haven't done anything to add interest to your life, you're going to get hunted down by the boring police or pirates. One of the two. Then, of course, during the beginning weekend of the monthly update, there's going to be Twitch drops. These are going to start from April 25th through to April 28th. You're going to be able to get the Stormy Sea Dog Bucket and Drum, the Stalwart Sea Dog Cutlass, the Seasoned Sailor Rapier, and the Rising Morning Star Eye Patch, which is probably the most unique one out of the bunch. I'm kind of confused about why the Stormy Sea Dog Bucket and Drum are being included in this compared to the podcast where Christina McFairholm said that it was only going to be the bucket, but we'll just have to see. We're getting conflicting information, and it happens. So we just have to wait till the end of the month. But outside of that, that's what's going on this month. We have one event, we have Twitch drops, and the latest update for the game, which will add the final bits of season 15, which means that in November, probably the middle of November, actually, I'm going to take a look at the little calendar right now. Let's see. So update comes in on the 24th. I believe we have roughly 6 more weeks of time in the season. Let me take a look at, I'm going to see if I can find out on the website instead of having to actually boot up the game. Because usually it will tell us when that's actually going to be going. Nope, unfortunately not. The website does not actually indicate how many weeks are left, but last I checked, it was somewhere around the neighborhood of 7, and that I think was last week, which means that it's probably close to 6 weeks left, which if that's the case, 6 weeks left means that we have 4 weeks into the month, which put us into the 7th of May, which means there's a good chance that the next season will probably kick off either the 15th of May or the 22nd of May. And I'm going to say that it's probably going to be the 22nd, because it seems like this third Thursday is the patch day that they tend to shoot for. So we'll go with that for now. We'll probably find out more as we get into it. At the moment, there's not a whole lot really to be told about what we're going to be able to get from the event for the mega stashes, except that the promotional image for this, which I'm probably going to use for a thumbnail because I think it's actually really cool looking, is actually going to be the Sea of Thieves Ashen Athena chests that are being carried out by 2 pirates from, I believe this is Keelhauled Fort, which is actually missing the top portion of it. Funny enough, it should actually have a top torch on there, and it doesn't look like it actually does, unless for some reason I just don't remember them not having like a little pillar at the top of that. I could have swore they did, but it looks like Ashen loot is going to be on there, and good chance that you could be getting Ashen chests of legends. Plus, if you beat enough of these, you can get that stupendous stash seekers. It's just the stash seekers mustache. I appreciate Rare for your alliteration. Stop. Just telling you right now, it's getting a little ridiculous. So outside of that, they are kind of promoting that the wild boars are going to be brought in game, and it'll be kind of interesting to see how these goes. One of the things that I actually kind of like about this is that one of the promotional images that they used actually pertains to a bunch of boars that are kind of like hanging in and around an area on an island of treasure near them, where they're kind of like nesting, if they nest. I don't think they actually nest. But this is going to be something that chances are we will probably have to kill the boars, and then we'll get like some rewards, as well as whatever they drop for items, which in my mind kind of feels like tusks, which would make sense. You know, if you're hunting boar and you kill them, the thing that you could probably bring back is like a pelt or like a tusk. I can't imagine it's going to be the snout, but if they really want to go with tusks in a world where we used to hunt animals for ivory tusks, then so be it. That's Sea of Thieves. Outside of that, that's kind of it for the month. I did want to let you all know that there is a pre-order for the next art book available. If you're not quite sure, I'll go ahead and put a link into the show notes, but you should be able to go to your book seller of choice, whether it be like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, local places, and actually ask for the Sea of Thieves art book. There's going to be 2. So obviously this one is going to be called The Art of Piracy, and it's made by Titan Books. And if you're ever in question about, you know, like what I should be looking for, head over to titanbooks.com and just search for Sea of Thieves, The Art of Piracy. You'll be able to get more information there, and pre-order one for yourself. So I actually ordered this back in October. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this recently, but just wanted to remind you guys that there is another art book coming. The first ones that we got were actually kind of cool because, and I forgot about this, but when the game first came out, when the game first came out, they actually sold these on the store, and a limited quantity of them were actually signed by devs. So, and in the time that Sea of Thieves has happened with Sea of Thieves Fest going on, I've actually taken that art book to the 2 times that I actually went, and had the developers that showed up there sign my art book. So now my art book is actually even more valuable to me, because now I have a whole bunch of little messages in there from the devs themselves, not just the, you know, like the ones from when I originally bought it. Sadly, it doesn't look like we're going to have anything like this, but it would be kind of cool if they did something like that, you know, just for collectors who love Sea of Thieves and may have already bought like the collector's edition, or not the collector's edition, but the original art book that had some signatures in there from random developers. Would be cool if they did some giveaways like that. So, but outside of that, I think that's it as far as news. So let's get into Sea of Thieves and Rare and what they're doing with content creators. Next on today's docket, let's talk about what Rare is doing to work with community members. So there's two stories to this. The first one actually deals with the Sea of Thieves news program, which if you guys don't know, is actually an invite-only Discord that Sea of Thieves actually had for their Sea of Thieves community newsroom. It was interesting because this Discord was created as a result of wanting to communicate updates and information to different media outside of the community, while also still giving the community a space to talk and discuss things. The site really, or the Discord itself, didn't really do a whole lot. There wasn't a whole lot of discussion or community news being had there. And they're unfortunately going to be putting it on hiatus, which means that for community members, they are going to be resorting back to their own Discords, or the Sea of Thieves main one, as well as the partner one, if they're involved with that. But outside of that, they're not going to be doing anything for members at this moment that are going to be part of the press. So one of the problems that I am worried about with this is that at the moment, a lot of the news is communicated through social media channels, which is fine because a lot of places that do have websites that communicate information about different games that are not necessarily focused on one game in particular, use the kind of social media stuff. But if they miss it, there's a lot of things that can get, lost in the algorithm, which is why something like a Discord is kind of a good repository for places to be able to go to if they did want to check out and see if there was anything interesting, or to kind of let folks know like, hey, this is coming up. The trouble is that it was not something that really kind of stepped out beyond that, or really tried to do too much out beyond that. So I always wanted to try and engage with this. I saw this as a great opportunity for members of the community who did cover the game in ways, but weren't part of the partner program, to try and get a little bit closer to the actual studio when it comes to things like assets, news, information, stuff like that, in a manner that would allow them to have the opportunity to write or create videos on it, ready for a certain like embargo date. Embargoes are something that I'm familiar with and have to work around when it comes to reviewing games and doing previews and stuff like that. So for me, the idea of being under embargo just means that you were respecting the developer's wishes when it comes to when this information is released. And unfortunately, that wasn't anything that we could actually do with the Sea of Thieves community newsroom. Something that I was actually expecting that to kind of be is an avenue for us to be informed about things that are coming down the pike before they're public knowledge, so that we can actually put some prep work into it, so that if we wanted to have an episode go live and know that the episode would go live after a certain date in a certain time, that we could actually talk and speak to the information, so that folks didn't have to necessarily wait an entire week for that information to go if it wasn't their main coverage source, if it wasn't the thing that they were covering all the time. They did want to talk about Sea of Thieves, but it wasn't the main thing. So having a way to get a heads up about that is always an interesting way. And in some cases, I think some people out there, and I'll point to folks like Rare Thief, will go into insiders, test out the stuff, report any issues that they find, but get a better understanding of what is going on with the game and what's going to be coming. They will have like notes on what they'll need to do for videos, so that when the day actually launches, they can go into the game proper when the game is live, record all the video footage that they need to, plug it into the video that already has the audio and the script recorded and edited, and then they can go ahead and release a guide in a fairly timely manner, in a quick turnaround as a result. That is something that I could do, but unfortunately, because of the NDA on the insiders, it's not a way for me to be able to like take the information that's going to be there and be able to just go into the game, grab a couple minutes worth of footage based on the stuff that's going to happen, and then release that in a timely manner, given that I have a regular 9 to 5. So I was kind of hoping that the newsroom that we had was going to be something that they were able to help with folks who have written work, whether it's a website or a blog or a newsroom, a YouTube channel, a Twitch stream, whatever they had, that this would help kind of keep them in the know. And at the moment, this is something that's going to be on hiatus. They are putting it as a read-only Discord, which means they could evaluate it in time and see if this is something that they want to approach again with a different perspective or different goals in mind. But after about a year and not a whole lot of information or activity, I should say, they are going to be shuttering this for the time being. So it's kind of a shame because this was a way that I was able to get assets from them. At this moment, I don't know that I really have a way to do so. They did say that if any press want to actually get in touch with some of the community team, that there is a support ticket in the drop down for press to be able to request this stuff. I'm going to try and see if I can test this to see like what kind of information I'm able to get. As many of you know in the Discord, especially with the gold hoarders, I have been talking about my attempts to get more developers back to the podcast to be able to cover some of the news and information, as well as just dig into some of the details about updates and stuff that we have, and just ask some pressing questions that I'm sure that the community has that we don't necessarily get when we do get some of the videos from Rare. A lot of those tend to go into things that are lighter of topic with some little teases, but not necessarily like asking some of the hard questions and getting some of those spicy answers. So things like that are always kind of in the works. Unfortunately, I have kind of hit a roadblock again where I have not really had a whole lot of communication from the community management team letting me know what the status of those requests are. If I get some updates and there's something that I can log in as far as like, yes, this is approved, I can go ahead and talk about it. I'll go ahead and get you guys an update on that. But at the moment, I'm trying to think when was the first time that I really kind of jumped into doing these requests. So the requests started back on February 3rd. They have transitioned from one person to another. And back in it looks like March. And as of right now, in the middle of April, I am still pending information back from the dev team. So hopefully I'll get some word from them on how things are going on that front. In the meantime, I'm a little wary about this new program that they are going to be introducing. So Becky Frost over on the forums for the creator crew, which you can sign up for at any point that you want. You're always more than welcome to. It's free to join. There's no obligation. You just have to sign up and agree that you're going to be part of that program. You can always read the details on that if you really want to on there, but there is a creator crew program, and they do have a forum section in there. And as Becky Frost is one of the leaders in the forum group, she posted a new post on there talking about the Sea of Thieves stream team applications. Now, if you're not too familiar, this is something that I've talked about in the past. And the reason why I brought it up had a lot to do with the fact that Rare's current stream team are a mixed bag. There's some creators in there that are still actively streaming for Sea of Thieves, but for the most part, a lot of them have either stopped streaming altogether or have moved on to different games, leaving a very small pool of people for cosmetics when they start to do some of these stream team only cosmetics. Now, it's hard for me to remember what these actually were, but I just remember them being very, very small chance of someone being able to get these, given that the times that these people were streaming weren't something that was like very frequent. Definitely not in the same venue as a full-time streamer like Captain Falcor, Boxy, Pace, Fuzzy Bond, Carities, Britty Bear, folks like that who do it for a living, like LD or some of those folks, Kabobbles and whatnot. A lot of the household names in the Sea of Thieves community who are just big time streamers, typically at the top of the actual like viewer list when you go to like Twitch. So now they are doing, and granted, this is going to be something that's available only for people who are not currently or have ever been a Sea of Thieves partner or a partner legend, which if you're not familiar, partner legends are kind of like the cream of the crop when it comes to delivering on analytics for Sea of Thieves. They bring in the most viewers, so they are going to be considered legends at this point. To get into the actual post itself, it says, "Ahoy creator crew pirates. We are opening applications for the Sea of Thieves stream team. The Sea of Thieves stream team is a community spotlight program designed to support emerging and smaller Sea of Thieves streamers. Members receive direct backing from the Sea of Thieves team, including in-game items to give away, access to exclusive assets, social media shoutouts, and a feature on our website. I kind of want to put a pin in this at the moment and just kind of address some things that I think the community team does well and the community team does not do well. The Sea of Thieves stream team is good that they are opening this up. They do a good job with the community spotlights as far as a program goes, and do post that out there to kind of let people know, like, hey, this is a community member you might want to get a little bit more information on. They do a good job of that. They do a good job of giving social media shout outs and being featured on the website. The thing that I have problem with is a lot of the Twitch drops that are being put out there have now been something that is out there available for everyone. You no longer have to necessarily, and I won't say that this won't change or this is applicable to every single Twitch drop, but for the most part, if you are streaming Sea of Thieves on Twitch, you will be able to opt in to be considered one of the people who can offer drops. It's a very easy program to get set up through Twitch itself. And as long as you stream in the Sea of Thieves category, you can help people get their drops for Twitch drops, which is great. The trouble comes in is that for all intents purposes, unless you are a partner, or in this case now part of the stream team, you don't really have a whole lot of access to assets that are going to be the little logos, promotional images, clean assets to be able to make up for your own kind of overlays, to be able to say like, hey, I'm going to be doing a stream and I'm doing it so that folks can get Twitch drops. So here are the Twitch drops that you can get. So if you want to join my stream, you can jump in, watch me play Sea of Thieves for X amount of hours and earn your drops through me. At the moment, the best way to do this is effectively put drops in capital letters on your title of your stream for every day that you're streaming during this time frame. That's honestly what most people look for. But while they're in there, once they click on the drop, or once they click on your channel, they may want to know like what the actual drops look like. And that's where these assets come in handy. With no real access to be given to the larger group of community members out there, especially as easy as it would be for the creator crew. And just to double check myself right now, I'm actually going to go to the creator crew program in the actual forums and just kind of take a look and see, is there any post on here that indicates that you can get some of these actual like community things, these assets here. And at the moment, just a quick scan, it looks like there is no post that really kind of says like, hey, we would like to have these assets, which I think at least at the creator crew program level would be nice to have. If you're going to offer the stream team, which is going to be a finite number of people, the ability to get access to assets, I think at bare minimum, the Twitch assets should be something that's made for all streamers who are going to be available to actually do these drops. Why not reward your creator crew with something in a system that is currently very lacking? So getting back to the actual forum post, it goes on to say that the Sea of Thieves stream team members can also take part in special events throughout the year and have opportunities to collaborate with both the Rare team and fellow creators. Something, a side note, this is actually something that the forum does provide you. If you do want to go and actually connect with other creators, you can post in the creator crew forums. But that seems like such a antiquated way of trying to communicate with people in an age where we have a Discord. So honestly, if you did want to do something like this, I think a creator crew Discord server would probably serve as a more universal means of people to actually get in contact with other creators and communicate, jump into a voice chat similar to what they do in Sea of Thieves' Discord, and actually work on talking things out as far as like two creators working together. But going back to the post here, it says helping them grow their audience and become a bigger part of the Sea of Thieves community, which I think is great. It's great when the community team actually tries to go and try and raise the bar for all streamers, whether they're small, medium, large, and just, rising tide lifts all ships. One thing that I would say is that this is going to be something that each year a new crew of streamers will be selected to join the program, giving fresh voices the chance to shine. Stream team membership lasts for 1 year with spaces limited to ensure new creators have their moments in the spotlight. The application window for this year's stream team will run from today, which is Friday, the day of this posting, which was Friday the 11th of April, to May 25th, which is that Sunday at the end of May. Members will then be selected and contacted via private chat before Saturday, the 7th of June, with an invitation to the program. And if you might be curious on how this is actually going to be for the application, you do have to reply in this forum thread that they posted with the following information. The team will then review everything and will contact those chosen for this year's Sea of Thieves Stream Team group. You must provide a channel link. You must provide social channels, whether it be Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. A channel trailer or a clip you think sums up your vibe is potentially is optional, and a short paragraph about why you think why you'd like to be part of the Sea of Thieves stream team. The entry requirements mean that you do have to be a creator crew. You cannot be a Sea of Thieves partner or past partner legend. The Sea of Thieves stream, and you must actually stream Sea of Thieves regularly. It doesn't have to be the only game you stream, but should be one of your main titles at least. The trouble here is that when they say stream Sea of Thieves regularly, that is a very nebulous term. When you say regularly, does that mean regularly you stream just Sea of Thieves every week? You go in, you do 6 hours of streaming once a day every week, and you regularly keep to that schedule? Or does that mean that you regularly stream Sea of Thieves throughout the week, and that you may be doing a little bit here and there? With other titles, but for the most part, it's Sea of Thieves as the main game that you stream. Very unsure about like how this is going to work out, but a lot of people have been showing interest. It was something that was posted 9 days ago, and at present, we are looking at 4 pages worth of folks who have submitted their application for this, which means that there are very much a lot of people who are interested in this. So glad to see that folks are getting into this. There's 134 posts with 12K, almost 13K views on it, not including the 800 that I added to this. So I hope that this goes well. But I also hope that Rare realizes that there are quite a few people who don't go onto forums or social media too much outside of posting for their own stuff, or maybe even just want to start small with adding assets to their game, or maybe even just having a way to kind of like expand the creator crew. Because at the moment, Sea of Thieves' creator crew, the reputation, if you go into there hasn't really been any change since it was introduced, and it was a very interesting program. And I feel like streaming is kind of the main way that they want to explore going in and actually like working with streamers and content creators to be able to expand their reach with other folks, so that folks can actually like find out, here's what's going on with Sea of Thieves. Here's where you can go and actually like take a look and see how things are going. But for all intents and purposes, there's really, you have to have streamed for 20 hours. You streamed for an accumulated 100 hours. You started up the creator program, and you've had 20 concurrent viewers. Once you hit those, you're pretty much done with the creator crew reputation. And I feel like that was something that they really could have expanded upon. There was talks years ago about them working on getting streamers and YouTubers into the program for Pirate Legends, and being able to have folks be able to join up in that, and then eventually expand that out to the partner program would expand it out to artists, and then musicians, prop makers, costume makers, and then somewhere at some point they would have gotten in touch with me. But I think at this point, it's going to be interesting if they do want to start using the stream team more widely, as I think that a lot of the streamers right now that do Sea of Thieves on a more regular cadence as far as their main game are kind of getting burnt out. There's been a lot of decline in viewership overall. A lot of Twitch streamers have talked to me about as far as like their viewers kind of looking for other stuff, or it seems like a lot of it is just kind of geared towards who's doing what kind of PvP at the moment. There isn't really a community that I've been able to find on a regular basis where streamers are going out and being friendly with people or showcasing like how quickly it is to complete PvE stuff. A lot of it is just tied to Hourglass and Fort of Fortune steals, things like that. So if I'm wrong, definitely feel free to let me know. Let me know what you guys are seeing out there. I always like to try and keep an eye on this, or at least kind of hear from folks when it comes to this kind of thing. But for the most part, definitely feels like a lot of folks are looking forward to the upcoming update and potentially getting into the stream team for that first year. All right, next on the docket, let's talk about the Sea of Thieves podcast that came out. This is the the season 15 episode. I don't know where I got sixth. Don't ask me. This is the season 15 podcast episode. We got one for season 14. I imagine they will hopefully be able to keep up the cadence with this and offer the Sea of Thieves season 16. Ironic that they're 16 episodes into this podcast on season 15. If they had maybe just held off one more month, they could have had it completely lined up with season 15 with 16 episodes. But at this point, Sea of Thieves has been working on the podcast. It's always nice to kind of see this because I feel like a little bit of validation whenever they do a podcast. I'm like, oh, podcasts are still alive. It's not just me. Thank God. And of course, Pirate Talk Radio, Davram over there. And I wanted to kind of go through some of the stuff that they wanted to talk about in this episode. This had a different cast than we're used to. Usually we have like Mike and Joe, Drew kind of pop in and they talk about the game, the state of the game, what they're hoping for, little teases here and there. But this one was a much different cast than we're typically used to. So we had, of course, John McMurtry, fantastic head of production, video production over at Rare. Love him to death. Drew Stevens, now kind of the I would say the top dog when it comes to producing Sea of Thieves. He's kind of the one that's been dealing with everything now that Joe's kind of moved up in the company. Shelley Preston, who's been around forever, since day one, 10 years on the game, talking about the stuff that she loves, as well as Christina McFairholm, who is head of community, and there to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with community events, weekends, just interesting facts here and there. And then Amy Jones, who is kind of the head of the Guardians team, who are the team that has been set up to go in and take a look at the performance and stability of the game, where there are exploits and bugs, and try and address those outside of the feature teams that are working on content for future seasons. So her entire job is effectively managing the teams that are working on completing or going back and taking a look at old things or issues that we have in the game and trying to find resolution for those, whether they're knock-on effects from current features that have been released, or they're things that have come back from the dead as a result of changes to the code. We've seen this numerous times, and her team is specializing in taking care of that. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's worth jumping in to about 19 minutes and 30 seconds of the podcast. The first 19 minutes generally just covered with the anniversary of Sea of Thieves, some of the favorite things that the studio has liked with reflections on past anniversary or past updates to the game, and as well as the community weekend, how that went as far as like actual numbers, but we never got actual like numbers of how many people were participating, which I think would be a lot more interesting in my mind, as well as things like pig facts, which were the list of 10 pig names that they posted on social media. So skipping forward past all of that, let's talk about season 15 and how that's been so far. They've released so far the harpoons as well as the ancient megalodons, the expansion to the Hunter's Call reputation, as well as fishing voyages. So far, things are pretty good from their perspective. They've done a pretty good job of staggering the content and seeing how the community responds to this. It seems to be the way that they're going to go forward from now on, season 16 being the next example of this, when they kind of takes the content and stagger it out in smaller bits with each month. That way they can address certain issues as opposed to dumping it all and seeing the repercussions of everything mixed together without a clear indication of what may be causing problems in the game. Things that we're going to be able to look forward to in this coming update, which we'll probably get more news on starting on Tuesday with a teaser trailer that they'll probably put out for Sea of Thieves, and then a full-on like deep dive into the seasonal update on this coming Thursday, which what is that, the 17th? Yeah, 17th of April. They're probably going to release a deep dive of what's going on as they lead into the Mega Stash event. So could be that they push those out due to the Mega Stash event that's going on. They may actually just do a video the day of for Mega Stashes talking about what to do, how to do it, what to go out and get, things like that. And they may save the deep dive for next week, where it would be either Monday or Tuesday before the actual update on that Thursday. So on the 24th. So we'll have to see how the cadence of the videos comes out, but regardless, I'll be covering those as they come. On top of the things that they're doing with the actual event, the things that are coming are going to be the hunting voyages for wild boars and megalodons, where you'll be able to go and hunt down specific megalodons. I'm very curious about this because at present, megalodons are random. They are just random encounters in the game. Whichever one spawns is going to depend on just the RNG of the server. The other day, I actually managed to get one more towards my final ancient one, which actually I'm gonna go take a look now, because now I'm kind of curious. So in my Athena's Fortune reputation, if I go and take a look at the incompletes, I have 4 incompletes. One of them is the Merchant of Fauna, which is delivering 250 animals on time as a pirate legend. Horrible. I hate it. I have 60 more that I need to do, which means I need to do, what is that, 120 more basic voyages to be able to get that completed. Since you only can get 3, I think, per island for the standard one, which, at 60, yeah, it's going to take a lot. So the next one on the list is the Legendary Hunter of the Ancient Terror, which you have to kill 50 to get the grade 5 completed on that. I'm at 44. I'm really hoping to get those last 6 at some point. And then there's one that's called the Legendary Hunter of the Shrouded Ghost, which I've only seen once. And I still have 4 more to go on that one. And then, of course, I've got my Legendary Seeker, my Veil Seeker, which is the complete 100 Legends of the Veil Voyage, which at the moment I think I have 40 left, according to this. So that's just going to take time for those ones. I'm working on Order of Soul stuff at the moment, which it's been nice because I've been sailing with A-Chick. Her and I will jump on during the week and try and work on some commendations after she's gone and tried to murder people in Hourglass. But we've been working towards those. The interesting thing that I wanted to talk about as a result of those actually has to do with Order of Souls voyages. So you guys may not be aware of this, or you may be aware of this and not really think about it too much. But one of the commendations is to complete 50 Voyage of the Damned Souls, which is the ghost ship voyages, which are just the kind of small version of Big Red or of Flameheart's world event, which I always think is kind of interesting because I don't really think too much about it. It used to offer the Screamer Balls for them. It doesn't seem like that really does so anymore. I can't remember if I remember them changing it, but I don't remember what the change was. But we've been doing a few of those and have not come across any Screamers. out of the little chests that we've been getting from them, or the storage crates that we've been getting from them. But these are quick enough and offer enough supplies that if you drop a few of these and go do them, just sail twos, you can actually get a fair amount of actual resources to be able to go and do some of the hunter's call stuff. So one of the things that we've been working towards is we'll throw up a Order of Souls flag. We'll go do a bunch of ghost ship voyages, get a bunch of supplies, switch over to Hunter's Call, and then we'll have a lot of supplies, meat, wood, cannons, to be able to take on the ancient megalodons. Now, I'm still trying to work out the easiest way to get to grade 5 with the Hunter's Call. It's definitely a mixture of cooking meat and doing raid voyages. From what I can tell, one person doing a raid voyage while the other person cooks a bunch of captaincy meat seems to be the best means of going about raising up that reputation, that emissary ledger faster. So if you have any suggestions on that, I'm all ears. I would love to have like an idea of, who's found a fairly quick way of getting to grade 5. Because as I'm going for these ancient megalodons, I am still completely working on the teeth and the scales associated with these so that I can go ahead and finish up the wild seas commendations. Now, at present, they have fixed the bug where you only have to take part in the actual fight with with Big Red or Barney. And once you've actually completed those, you'll be done. We have had some trouble with the milestones syncing up with the commendations as of the patch, which I know has been something that a support ticket has been gone in, but there's been no update for some folks who have not been able to get the resolution that they need to be able to find out like whether or not they're actually going to get credit for the ones that they did kill or participated in prior to this commendation fix. So always kind of hard to know like how that's going to work out, but still definitely working towards the teeth and the scales for both the red maw and the barnacle dread. Going to have to kill far more than 10, it looks like at this point. And I'm kind of curious how you guys are doing on your harpoons. Have you been able to hit krakens, megalodons, and ancient megalodons using the spears 15 times? Have you been able to kill 15 sharks with those? Have you been able to shoot enemy ships with hunting spears 15 times? I've been noticing, I feel like I get hit regged a little bit with the hunting spears and the commendation when it comes to enemy ships, but for the most part, the megalodons, krakens, ancient megs, and sharks have all been registering just fine for me. So going back to the latest or the upcoming update for Sea of Thieves in season 15, where we're able to voyage our way to megalodons, I'm going to be very curious to find out how these are going to register against pirate legend requirements, because as it stands, I only need those 6 ancient skeletons or ancient terrors. And if I do need 6 ancient skeletons, by the way, I 100% definitely killed them at some point in the last 2 months and never got the coin for those. So yeah, if that could get applied, that'd be fantastic, because I wouldn't mind buying another pig. But the ancient terrors are tied to emerging roaming megalodons. And I'm curious to find out if these voyages, which I'm sure most people who've probably been on Insiders already know the information about this and just can't speak to it. But I would like to know if the voyages for these megalodons are going to be ones that count towards the pirate legend commendations, or if it's going to be something similar to how we saw the Shrouded Ghost during that one adventure, the Shrouded Deep, I think is what it was called, where we were unable to get credit for the roaming Shrouded Ghost Megalodon with that adventure to try and preserve the rarity of folks who have actually come across it naturally and killed it. Very curious to find that out in the future. I can't imagine that they will, but I do wonder if this is going to be a way for you to be able to get to a grade 5 faster, or generally what the goal of this is. And if it is megalodons, why aren't things like the Kraken included as well? Seems peculiar to me that they wouldn't include a way to summon the Kraken in a Hunter's Call update where they are adding voyages to be able to summon a megalodon. But maybe that's just me. What do you think? Last on this podcast, let's talk about Amy Jones, who has been working with their team to try and make sure that if they can go in and try and improve performance and stability, as well as taking a look at some of the exploits and bugs in the game, that they are doing so outside of the feature teams, which are currently working on content for future updates. For example, season 16. It was nice to hear from them, kind of discuss some of the things that they've been looking into. They talked about they've been looking at the performance and strains on servers revolving around items, as well as floating items, and how just physics with a water-based game does cause a lot of calculations to have to take place. And that is something that is causing strain on the system. So personally, I feel like things like the barrels of plenty are something that could probably be toned down, or at least just kind of lowered in some instances. I feel like a lot of us tend to get supplies in other means. While the barrels are nice, they don't necessarily serve too much of a functionality, but maybe that's just my perspective. Next, they talked about hunting voyage, or excuse me, not hunting voyages, the way that you interact with things that you get in the environment from voyages, like smaller items, chests, things that you would pick up and interact with. There is a delay or issues that they are finding, as those tend to cause performance when people are stacking, especially on longer sessions. They're also looking at situations where players aren't playing the game in a way that's fair or intended. And the main example that they had for this is in hourglass matches, where ships are being pulled up into shallow parts of the world and are unable to actually sink, even though there are enough holes in the ship that would, for all intents and purposes, cause the ship to sink, because you just can't outbail that many holes at a certain point. They're unable to actually get that ship sunk. So one of the things that they are looking to do is to try and put in a temporary fix for this, with a permanent fix down the road that will help prevent players from being able to do this. Not quite sure what that is, but nice to know that they are working on that in particular. They also have things that they're looking at when it comes to storage crates and barrels. They've noticed that longer and longer sessions, there tends to be a delay when accessing these items, these inventory systems, and they are looking to try and shore that up as well. There's currently a fix that they talked about being in insiders to try and make sure that it works, because as a result of a recent update, they noticed that there is now a bit of a hitch that's involved when you go to access something like a storage crate. They've also gone on to talk about the delay when it coming back from the ferry, the prolonged black screen. This is a known issue and has been for quite some time, and they are continuing to investigate the reasons behind that and to try and prevent those from happening, so that you don't have to sit there and listen to your boat sinking. And then I think the one that everyone here can relate to has to do with the crates, whether it's hunting spears, crates, anything, storage crates, meat crates, cannonball crates, trying to obtain an item from a vendor. Something I talked about in last week's episode, I think with, what was it? Hunting spears? I think it was hunting spears. Running into the issue where you cannot actually claim an item has been extremely frustrating, especially since many of us are slowly running out of captaincy trinkets to go buy to be able to reset this. Spoiler alert, I think I talked about it last week. One of the ways that I was able to fix this was buying a crate. So start off with hunting spears. If those bug out, go buy a storage crate, and that way you don't have to go buy a trinket to get the storage crate, or vice versa. This is something that they're working on. They're looking to find out why this is happening and improve the performance so that it is more reliable when purchasing an item from a vendor, that you actually can pull that vendor item from them. They also have a team that is currently looking at older systems from the game that may have been ignored. They're looking to find out if there are things that they can ensure are, are things that the game just does that's weird, that we know about, that for whatever reason has never been a top priority. Outside of that, they currently have a fix in insiders that they were able to talk about and address. So now I can talk about it, even though I didn't know it was a thing that was going on in there. But they said that there's a fix currently being tested in insiders for funny launching, which honestly, the fact that folks are coming into streams and saying like, hey, you should funny launch to go get that ship, really does take away from the whole point of actually playing the game, which is to get good at naval. Get good at naval so you can get good on boarding, so that you can take down ships without having to do stuff like circumnavigate the traversal between one ship and another via a cannon fire that they'll hear, playing fairly effectively, giving fair warning. Like if you're going to shoot out of a cannon, that's an audible signal to the other team that people want to know about. And it's fair to say, I'm coming to board, or I'm going to do something that makes you think I'm coming aboard, whether you're firing a pet or not, to make you feel like you're on guard for when I actually come. So it gives you the other players an opportunity, a fair opportunity to respond to your action. And funny launching detracts from that. It's not something that actually allows them to be able to like hear that you're coming over. So when when you see someone board your ship and you didn't hear a cannon fire, it's kind of like, okay, really? What the heck? What is going on here? So I really like that this is something that's getting addressed. I get that they can't go in and effectively ban everyone that's funny launching. The reports that come in, that's like they have to go and investigate it. The amount of time that the investigation team has to be able to go in to check reports for all the people that are getting reported is still very high, but there's like no guarantee that that they're going to be able to get everyone, right? So you never quite feel vindicated when somebody funny launches, even though you know that it is considered an exploit. There's not going to be a for sure punishment with that. There may be, you're not quite sure, but it's one of those sad things. You're just like, it'd be cool if you knew that there was, and you could actually rely on that. But they are working on a fix for that. I'm glad to hear it, because it's one of those things that it's just frustrating. It's frustrating to try and play the game in a natural state that takes into account things like, okay, if you want to get over there, you're going to have to shoot over. You have a grapple. So people who are using funny launching as a way to avoid that and get over there in a way that's easier than just, using the natural mechanics. It's like, we already have enough tools at hand to be able to get over there and get onto a ship. You shouldn't have to resort to exploits and physics breaking to be able to sink someone. That just shows that there's a lack of skill on your end, in my opinion. I don't care if you don't like that or not. And that was about it as far as the updates from the community team that's working on the performance and stability of the game. It was nice to hear from them when it wasn't coming from Drew, to have them actually speak to some of the stuff that they know for sure they're working on, and things that are coming in, as opposed to, this is a thing that we've had on the list for the team, and they'll get to it when they get to it. It's like, now we actually know exactly what they're working on and what they're working towards. And I appreciate that transparency. Means a lot to the community to hear that kind of stuff coming from them directly. Then we go into conversation from Shelly. Shelly goes in to talk about some of the things that are going to be coming in with season 16, which is nice to have some of these little teasers. Normally we get these with Mike, but we found out that with season 16, this is going to be a Reaper focused update. Season 13 focused on Flameheart's return and bringing back the Burning Blade, as well as checking out some of the stuff with the Ancients and the skeleton camps and the ceremonies that were going on there. Season 16 will focus on the reaping of that. No pun intended. The Bone and Blade Order is going to be making a return. Flameheart's crew, his kind of like reputation sect. And I can imagine that this will just expand the Reaper's Bones faction as they bring in more commendations, as well as voyages to the actual reputation. It's interesting to hear them talk about this, as currently the way to play Reaper's Bones is to go out and steal stuff from other people, or do stuff in the name of the Reaper's Bones, fly their flag, gather stuff, and then bring it back to the Reaper's hideout. With voyages being introduced for the Reaper's Bones, they talked about how these are going to be voyages that people can do, but will have a PvP flavor to them. Not necessarily just straight PvP, but introducing an element of interaction with other pirates that we have not seen before in voyages. Very curious to kind of see how this goes and how this lands. I've not been on Insiders, whether or not I'd be able to talk about it or not. I have no clue what they're actually doing for this. So genuinely going in a little bit blind on this one to kind of find out like what they're planning on doing. But that's going to go live in May. I will anticipate that it will be the first week of May, or so May starts on Thursday, the 1st of May. I imagine the 5th or 6th of May, we'll start to get teases and information about what this season is going to look like, with the update coming on either the 15th or the 22nd of May. So kind of interesting to find out what's going on with that. That's about it as far as the actual like teaser for this, but it does give us an opportunity to kind of take a look and see what's going on with Sea of Thieves as far as the lore aspect of it, and just get an idea of where they're going with the story. Which, if you didn't know, is actually being teased in game right now. So head over to the Ancient Isles University a Twitter account or on Blue Sky, and you can see that they are actually, or I guess if you really wanted to, you get over to Port Merrick, and over in the Order of Souls tent, they have the table. There are now 3 cards, 2 of which have been revealed, with the assumption that is going to reveal the 4th word on the update, or the 3rd word on the update, as that's coming out in the future, as we will probably start getting closer and closer towards the Reaper's Bones. In this case, the cards spell out Order of, which coincides with what we found out in the podcast based on the order of the Bone and Blade Order making a return in Sea of Thieves. So it may be the Order of Bones that is coming to Sea of Thieves, or the Order of Blade potentially in Sea of Thieves for season 16. So it looks like for now on, we're going to be getting a lot of our teases about lore, thanks to the skeleton runes on the cards that are over in Port Merrick in the Order of Souls tent. So that's, if you want to go check those out yourself, you can always click on them, read the little description. It'll tell you what each one is, and it's actually helping out with some of the old words that we never had like actually defined. Some of these had been defined through like social media, thanks to Mike Chapman, but a lot of these we didn't. We actually found out what the order is for this, and it's actually kind of nice to have that one like knocked out. So, and I think the website, there's actually, if you guys go to, let me see if I can find it under creator, or was it under Sea of Thieves? I know I've got these bookmarks somewhere, that one of them is literally just a bookmark to the Wikipedia page that has like all of the skeleton glyphs. Yeah, I do. I still have this. So it actually tells you what each one is. It's over on the Sea of Thieves fandom wiki, and you can actually take a look and see like what each skeleton glyph means. And in case you ever like want to take a look at what we know or what we don't know, this will be kind of a good way for you to kind of check those out. So kind of nice as that has been kind of revealed. I'm actually taking a look to see if they actually updated this, which unfortunately it does not look like they have. It looks like they still have one of these listed as no translation. So I might actually go into the fandom and actually edit this now that it's in here, help contribute to this. So I'll have to do that later, though. I'm getting distracted while I'm trying to do a podcast. But that's going to do it for this episode, though. We really didn't have a whole lot else going on in Sea of Thieves. Right now, it is just kind of par for the course. We're waiting for the event to drop. We're waiting for the new update to come out. Make sure you remember to check out the art book on Amazon or wherever you want to buy your Titan books from. Maybe a local comic book shop. You could order it from them as well, too. Get outside of the house and maybe visit a comic book shop. Lord knows they deserve to have the patronage. Speaking of patrons, we are going to be having the next Keelhauled Gold Hoarder episode. That is coming up on April 26th. So just make sure you guys are aware of that. If you are a patron and want to join in, we have a lot of topics to discuss, not only just about the podcast, but how people are feeling about the update, as will be a couple days past the Wild Boars and Megalodon voyages. So I would love to get some thoughts and feelings on what people think of them. Come in with your stories, come in with your concerns, come in with your wildest ideas, and definitely would love to have some folks join up on that. Again, that's going to be on April 26th. It is that Saturday, as always, the last Saturday of the month, where we still have a Monday for the release of the episode, which in this case, Monday is going to be the 28th. So Saturday, the 26th is going to be our record date. And I look forward to chatting with everyone that's able to show up. So Pirates, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for all of your kind words, your thoughts, the comments that you leave on the YouTube and the Patreon. episodes or areas, I guess the YouTube comments section. Yeah. And then on the Patreon, as well as in the Discord. I appreciate it and love that you guys are getting a kick out of this as we continue to see how Rare does. It seems like they're trying real hard to ensure that people are having a good experience. They're working very hard on trying to make sure that the game is getting more stable with content releases. And it feels like we could potentially be going into a future with Rare doing smaller cadence updates. And, you know, to be perfectly honest, if y'all have to reset the servers once in a while just to kind of freshen things up, you know, take out the trash, boot up the servers, put a new liner in there, totally fine with that, man. You know what? Shut down the server. If it's at like 2 a.m. my time, I'm fine with that. It's like 8 a.m. for UK pirates. I'm sure, you know, sleep in a little bit, just give some folks a little time off. You know, they don't have to jump on the seas right when they wake up. And yeah, you know, have like a good morning. I guess it'd probably be around like 10 a.m. But you know what? Take the morning off. You know, go outside, get some coffee. You know, see the sunrise. Have a nice brunch. Get a mojito, whatever you want. And yeah, just have like an enjoyable day. But Pirates, that's going to do it for this episode. So if you guys want to get a hold of me, there's plenty of ways to do that. Head over to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast. Join the Discord. Find me out over on socials. Like someone actually did the other day when I actually found out that one of the people that I was fighting against on a galleon as a sloop was someone that actually knew who I was. So Bruno over on Blue Sky tagged me and said GG's as we were fighting over a Fort of Fortune, which is really fun. And I immediately knew that as soon as I saw that arena blade come out, they were not the humble pirate that they appeared to be. You can throw little side daggers at me all you want, but I know the truth as soon as I see that arena blade. So that's gonna do it, Pirates. Thank you so much. Love you, and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.